If you are finding this reading, then you are right. You are so, so right. And you have always been right. There's so much more. There's so much more than this bubble of reality that we get tricked into incarnating, into experiencing. Driving in the car, you wake up, brush your teeth, go about your day, go to sleep, have dinner, go to sleep, wake up, brush your teeth, have breakfast, go about your day. This repetitive nature only happens so long before the multidimensional beings start to say, this can't be all there is. And you're right, it's not. This is not all there is. The mundane, the day to day, the normal. The thing is if you find this reading, there was a point in your life where you felt this way, or there was a point in your life where you felt depressed, or you felt unfulfilled, or you felt like there was an agitation within your soul that couldn't be explained. You couldn't quite work out what was wrong. What is it? There's this agitation in your soul, and that's what it was. It was waking up to realizing that you're right. There's so much more than this mundane bubble of perceived experience. Magic exists. Magic is real. In fact, the illusion is that magic isn't real. That's such an illusion. Magic is the basis of our whole reality, and you're right. There's so much more. Telepathy is real. Time is non-linear. Our thoughts think things into matter. Our thoughts and even looking at something changes physical matter. Your awareness and observation has the ability to turn pure waves of vibration into physical objects. Your reality is lucid. And you're right, there's so much more. And it's like, I don't know, there's a point in your life where maybe you felt this soul agitation, and maybe it was because of this. Because when you realize, oh, wait, there is more, and the reality is so much bigger than we could have ever fathomed, it feels like, that was it. That's what I was looking for. And it's funny, isn't it, how you can realize things but not realize them as new. It's funny how our soul already knows and remembers, and that's why it's so objective to this reality in its illusional lower paradigms where magic doesn't exist, where everything just is repetitive, everything day in, day out, the same, cycles, cycles. Our soul was uncomfortable because it already knew. It wasn't trying to figure out, it was trying to remember consciously what it had forgotten and what it always knew. So, don't you find that so interesting? You didn't discover that there's more, you always knew there was. And that is why you had these moments through time that felt like apathetic, that felt like, well, it's apathetic because the soul is undernourished and the soul is understimulated. And I just feel like this brought a lot of clarity to you. This put the piece of the puzzle in place that allowed your soul to breathe, understanding there is more, and that life is whimsical and that life is magical. I can hear a woodpecker. But yeah, so frequencies, vibration, magic, telepathy, empathic nature, consciousness, how we're the same consciousness all perceiving this paradigm that we see as solid. But guess what? Pain is created in the brain. We never even touch anything. Atoms repel each other. What we experience in our senses is all created through the self. Food, taste, smell, sight, color, touch, all of these sensations created inside of the self. There is no outside. There is only internal consciousness experiencing itself. You're right. There is so much more. There's so much more. There's so much more to be discovered, to be experienced, to be found out, to be embraced. And there's so much more always. And I think this brought solace to your soul. I think this brought freedom to your soul. Understanding not only is there so much more to this reality, There's so much more to you. Yeah, there's so much more to you. And like I say, things like telepathy seem magical. It's just a normal human experience. And all of these things that seem magical, we're simply just remembering again, you know? At points we think, is this all there is? There has to be more. Oh, am I crazy? No, because why is everyone waking up to the same realization? Why is everyone realizing that the same things, that we are energetically, telepathically connected, that humans as souls are quantumly entangled, that time is non-linear, that everything is already has happened, is happening, and will happen at the same time, that we operate from the quantum realm, that magic is science, that magic is consciousness, that everything is light, and light is a property we know nothing about how it works. And it's only that discovering we know nothing how it works that we started to realize the realm we actually live in as humans. So for centuries and centuries of time, people have lived in this suppressed illusion. People have lived wandering around a room in a kingdom of spaces. And you have opened the door to the rest of the kingdom. And now your soul feels like it can breathe because you're right. You were always right. So that's what it is. The soul will feel agitation, the soul will feel apathy, the soul will feel depression, the soul will feel these ways because it already knows what it's not being shown, and it already knows what is not being taught, and it already remembers deep inside what there is past beyond what is presenting on the surface. There is so much more. And yeah, life becomes magical in this way. So, this is like a timeline checkpoint. This is like a gateway frequency on the way out of the matrix because we live in this bubble for a while of kind of day in, day out, going along with things, day in, day out, kind of in the flow. We say our soul gets bored, our soul gets drained. It doesn't matter what we're doing. It doesn't matter if it's even, we're surrounded by things we love. There's nothing that will stop these lower feelings because it's not about being ungrateful. It's not about not seeing. It's not about mental health. It's not about mindset. In fact, a lot of these lower frequencies have been the thing to wake us up. A lot of these lower frequencies have been the thing to show us that there's more through the suffering. There's only so long we go through suffering before our soul says, why am I doing this? There has got to be more. And it's so funny how you can't fathom anything you've not experienced. You can't create a new experience. The brain cannot create what it doesn't know. Yet, how do you know there was more then? It's so funny because I do feel like you guys have re remembered. You haven't learned, you haven't discovered, you haven't awoken. You have reawoken, you've re remembered, rejoined up with the truth that we all have ingrained in us as humans. And I think that's why you hear higher truths from higher dimensional perspectives. You might not have heard them before, you re-remember them. It's not like you hear someone say something of a higher truth, of a higher dimension, and you're like, oh, do I believe that or not? It's like something sparks inside of you that clicks together in a framework that says, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That feels right. And what is that feeling? It feels right. There's so much more. And when you discovered there was so much more, that's how you felt. Ah, this feels right. This makes sense now. When you aligned with your higher path after you discover there's so much more, I want to step out my comfort zone. I want to do this. What are my dreams? Ah, I suddenly feel right because I was right, because there is more. And my soul already knew that. And its discomfort was its pulling me to a place I didn't even know existed, but I knew that still echoed inside my soul because there's always more. And again, this isn't there's always more in a way that it's like we're never fulfilled, we're never happy. I think anything we feel is for a reason. So if we ever do feel unfulfilled or bored or unhappy or apathetic, it's normally because we're about to shift. It's because we're growing. It's because we're expanding into new areas, into new spaces. And it's that discomfort that allows us to build new dreams. It's that discomfort that asks us, is there more? The thing is when you live in the darkness for so long, you get the most important questions raised to your mind. And I've said this before, it was never happiness that made me ask who am I? Why am I here? It was the darkness that made me ask, who am I? It was the darkness that made me ask, what am I doing here? What is my purpose? And it was the darkness that made me ask, there's got to be more, or question, there's got to be more. And so, in this way, you go through this pendulum swing and you've discovered there is more from having to live through this limitation, maybe limiting mindsets, limiting environment, limiting reality. But your soul called bluff and it always knew. Your soul was living in this limitation at one point for a while. And then it said, hold on a bloody minute. Hold on a minute. Something doesn't feel right. What doesn't feel right? It's because this isn't all there is, and you always knew that. And it was discovering that, waking up to that, finding that out, creating that expansion of information that made you feel, that feels right. That makes sense. That's what I was missing. That feels, yeah, that feels better now. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for being magical. And if you find this, I really, it's like a brush over statement that I say a lot or we hear a lot. Don't believe in coincidences. But just sit with that for a minute because genuinely everything's a frequency. There's so many millions of people in this earth, millions of videos, yet for some reason in the events of everything that's occurred in your day, you could have refreshed the algorithm and not seen this video, but everything in your day led you to this point now because you're awakening and you have awoken and you're reawakening. You know there's more. And I feel like you're just going to continue to expand and continue to find joy and to continue to find excitement in this exploration. After we awaken that there's more, we explore and we find so much that fills us with so much life, so much love, and so much compassion and so much awareness. So I love you guys more than anything, and hopefully cross paths with you soon. Mwah.